Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Honghuang. Apprentice, please leave the level. Crossing the wilderness, he was initially recruited as a disciple by a mysterious superpower. At first, Zhou Yuan was very happy because in order to practice, one must have the guidance of a master. Master Tong Tian. But when the mysterious Taoist revealed his identity, Zhou Yuan was foolish and said, "Brother, can I quit teaching? Although I quite like to connect with the heavens, I like to return to the heavens. Who doesn't know the tragedy of truncating teachings when I was crowned as a god?" Helplessly, Tong Tian disagreed, but fortunately, the system was activated at this time. As long as he closed down, there would be rewards, and Zhou Yuan became excited. I immediately decided to stay in seclusion until I traveled west to Fengshen before making waves. That's it. And in an instant, this closure went from a witch to a deitySan Xiao. Senior brother, all the disciples who cut off teaching are almost dead. Please leave the level. Zhou Yuan. Wait a moment, wait for the sage of the Tao to avenge you, brother. Tong Tian. Apprentice, please leave the level. Hongmeng purple chi and Zhu Xian 4 swords, you have given everything you want. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Crossing the flood and wilderness, learning from the master to the sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Crossing the flood and wilderness, learning from the master to the sky. What is this place? What woke Zhou Yuan up from his slumber was the piercing pain in his mind. And in the moment he woke up, Zhou Yuan was completely stunned. In front of him, it was not the rental house of the 21st century where he originally lived. The place that catches the eye is full of towering mountains and vast and boundless sea areas. There is no trace of the 21st century. What the hell is going on, sleeping trough? Zhou Yuan was shocked in his heart. He remembered very clearly that he had been in his rented house before. But when I woke up, I appeared in such a barren land. Roar. Suddenly, a loud roar rang out, and Zhou Yuan looked away. A huge demon beast, with claws that were tens of zhang wide, unexpectedly smashed a small mountain peak into powder. This scene was truly eye-catching, and Zhou Yuan stared blankly at the burst rocks, feeling a bit skeptical of life in an instant. Just as Zhou Yuan was lost in thought, the maddening pain suddenly struck him again. Strange and astonishing images emerged in Zhou Yuan's mind, and he was shocked to find that they were actually vast memories. I actually traveled through time. After thoroughly digesting the memories in his mind, Zhou Yuan finally confirmed this fact. Moreover, he still traveled to the desolate world he longed for the most in his past life. In an instant, he couldn't help but feel a stir in his heart. He was originally a fan of the epic novel, and he also had a good understanding of the legendary epic world. Becoming a saint and ancestor, immortal and immortal, all time and space are eternal and carefree. This is the supreme legend that can only be created in the era of the flood and famine. Zhou Yuan had also imagined countless times how magnificent it was to wield a sword and soar, picking stars and taking the moon. And at this moment, we have truly arrived in the vast and desolate world. All of this, as long as one strives to cultivate, is possible. However, to cultivate, one must have the guidance of a master. Suddenly, Zhou Yuan's heart moved and he thought so. That's right, although the Honghuang era was one where immortals emerged in large numbers. However, practicing is extremely difficult, and without the guidance of a powerful master, it would be difficult to achieve anything. Little did they know that even Sanqing, Nuwa, the Western second sage, and others who were ordained as saints that day, could only successfully attain enlightenment and become saints with the guidance of Hongjun Daozu. And then it will become famous for eternity. With this in mind, Zhou Yuan decided to work hard to improve his cultivation, so that he could become a disciple of the strong and practice the supreme path. Of course, before that, Zhou Yuan had only one word in his heart. Go. That's right, although the wilderness is full of opportunities, the strong have endless longevity and immortality. But there are always advantages and disadvantages. Similarly, in the vast and desolate world, it is also extremely dangerous. As the saying goes in the wilderness, golden immortals are not as good as dogs, and great dragons roam everywhere. This statement has no exaggeration at all. People with low levels are in front of those with high levels of strength. Just like a local chicken, tile dog, vulnerable to a single blow. Even if it is a golden immortal, it is so unbearable. Not to mention this ordinary person who has just traveled through time and has no cultivation at all. Therefore, apart from Go, Zhou Yuan has no choice. He knew that in the wilderness, time is most fleeting, and in the blink of an eye, thousands of years pass by. Therefore, he has ample time to improve his cultivation. It's not too late to consider becoming a disciple after having enough self-protection strength. Having made up his mind, Zhou Yuan didn't hesitate and found a place of great fortune, which was to stay in seclusion and never leave. Fortunately, the memories that flooded into his mind were extremely vast, including not only the current situation of the vast and desolate world, but also the shallow cultivation methods. Therefore, Zhou Yuan used this method to sense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, swallow it into his body, and refine the 100 bones of the extraordinary scriptures. However, the sky did not meet people's wishes, and in just a few days, the peace was shattered. On this day, outside Zhou Yuan's cave, a majestic figure suddenly appeared. He exuded a fairy-like aura throughout his body, shining brightly and making it difficult to see his specific appearance. This aura, without any cultivation, why does it give me a special sense? Wei-En's figure opened his mouth and gazed deeply into the cave. He possessed a mysterious and profound spirit, so he could naturally sense Zhou Yuan in the cave. But at this moment, he was a bit surprised. There was no other reason, but Zhou Yuan's breath made him feel a strange sensation in the dark. You should know that he has lived for endless years and has seen countless talented people. No one with stunning talents can stir up waves in his mood. At this moment, a mediocre person with no cultivation makes his heart uneasy. Wei-En's figure stood still, pondering for a long time, murmuring. Is it that this sun has a great cause and effect with me? Since that's the case, I can accept him as a disciple without any harm. As the saying goes, all laws are empty, and cause and effect are not empty. Although this Wei-En figure dominates the world in cultivation, at this level, it pays more attention to cause and effect. Therefore, it was immediately decided to accept Zhou Yuan as a disciple. At the thought of this, the Wei-En figure, surrounded by a fairy-like aura, no longer hesitated and spoke loudly. Little friend in the cave, I have traveled through the wilderness and passed through this place, sensing that I have a chance with you. May I know if you are willing to worship me as your teacher? Young friend, this discourse contains the great power of the Tao, echoing through the heavens and the earth, and naturally awakened Zhou Yuan in the cave. Master. Nima, this is really dozing off when someone brings a pillow. Zhou Yuan was pleasantly surprised. As he had anticipated, he had to at least upgrade to the level of golden immortal cultivation in order to be qualified to become a disciple of the powerful. Unexpectedly, the opportunity came to your doors so quickly. Zhou Yuan naturally wouldn't waste such an opportunity and hurriedly left the cave. What kind of strong person is this? In my perception, it's like a vast sea, difficult to measure its depth. As soon as he left the cave, Zhou Yuan was even more surprised. Just because he could clearly sense the majestic figure in front of him, which was not an ordinary powerful giant, and his strength was somewhat outrageous. If I could learn from such a strong person, it would be great. Are you willing to worship me as your teacher, young friend? Upon seeing Zhou Yuan's appearance, Wei-En's figure stopped talking and asked again. Without hesitation, Zhou Yuan said, I am willing to worship my senior as my teacher. Upon hearing Zhou Yuan's agreement, the figure of Wei-En burst into laughter, feeling incredibly happy in his heart. Okay, since I have been preaching to the heavens, you have been the first disciple of my sect and the first disciple to intercept teachings. The figure of Wei spoke 3 good words, indicating the joy in his heart. However, after the word Tong Tian was spoken, Zhou Yuan's face turned pale. What? Tong Tian, Tong Tian. The Tong Tian in Sanqing. Nima, damn it. Zhou Yuan's eyelids twitched. Chapter 2. Zhou Yuan. I quit teaching. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 2. Zhou Yuan. I quit teaching. Trapped. This was the first thought that flashed through Zhou Yuan's heart. That's right, Master Tong Tian. If it were an ordinary cultivator in the wilderness, he would probably be extremely excited and even insane. After all, who is Tong Tian? One of the 7 saints of heaven and earth today, the little junior brother of Sanqing, and a disciple of Hongjun Daozu. It is the supreme existence revered by all beings in heaven and earth. It can be said that if one can worship under the door of a saint, it is a great opportunity and good fortune. In the future, one can definitely become an extraordinary power. Moreover, as the saying goes, leaning against a big tree is good for shade. Worshipping under the door of a saint gives one a powerful support. It is not an exaggeration to say that even ordinary people without any cultivation, as long as they become disciples of saints, even the strong ones in the realm of the great Luo Golden Immortal dare not show any disrespect towards them. After all, the so-called the Luo Jin Xian, in the eyes of sages, is also an ant-like existence. As expected by Zhou Yuan, what happened here also caused countless great powers to overlook it. Oh my goodness, this son has no cultivation and can actually worship Tong Tian as his teacher. Hey, I think it must be that Tong Tian saw something extraordinary about this son. Tsk, what a lucky kid. From then on, he can soar to the sky, all beings whispered, their words filled with envy for Zhou Yuan. Upon hearing the discussions of sentient beings, Zhou Yuan was even more eager to cry without tears, thinking to himself. If God gives me a chance to start over again, I will die, even if I jump off Mount Zhou, I won't agree to Apprentice. After all, sentient beings do not know, but Zhou Yuan has memories of 2 lifetimes and is extremely clear about the fate of later generations of intercepting teachings. Although there is no distinction between teaching and learning, and there are countless disciples, even claiming to be immortals coming to the court, it can be said that it was extremely prosperous for a time. But in the later world's war of enfeefment of gods, the teachings of Xiao can be described as extremely tragic. In that battle, the disciples who intercepted the teachings were sent to the list of deities one after another. Empress Jinling, Empress San Xiao, Zhao Gongming and other powerful disciples were all suppressed and enslaved by the heavenly court. Duobao, Guiling, and others were looted by Western religions and fled to the west by Du Hua. And Long-Eared Dingguang Immortal and others also rebelled against the truthful sect. Even Laozi, who was born together as a whole, was named the elder brother of Tong Tian in the beginning. But it is also a joint effort with the Western second interpretation to break through the heavenly sword formation. In the end, it led to the downfall of the sect, and even the sect leader Tong Tian was taken away by Hongjun and imprisoned forever in the Xiao palace. People betray and leave, death runs away and escape injuries. It can be said that among the forces of the sages, Duanjiao is the most miserable one. Moreover, being a deity is a measure of calamity, and all beings cannot escape it. In other words, Zhou Yuan joined the Zhu Qing at this time, and later generations could only die with the downfall of the Zhu Qing. Although I used to enjoy being open to the heavens and being strict with others, I still like to return home. Faced with the danger of death, who would be willing to send a serious person to death? At the thought of this, Zhou Yuan felt even more regretful and sorrowful in his heart, and couldn't help but murmur weakly. Master, younger brother. Can disciples withdraw from teaching? As soon as this word is spoken, all 10 directions are silent. The flood and famine can be overwhelming. Tong Tian was also stunned. What? This kid actually said he wants to quit teaching. Is it possible that I have hallucinations? The sentient beings cannot believe it, thinking that Zhou Yuan is too excited and crazy. You should know that he is now facing a saint. The sage's words are the decree of the law. Previously, Zhou Yuan had already been appointed as the first disciple of the sect, so it cannot be changed. Moreover, this itself is an incredible thing. You should know that in the past, countless great powers fought until the sky and earth were dark, only to worship under the door of saints. But still unable to fulfill his wish. And Zhou Yuan, at this moment, is going to quit teaching. All sentient beings feel as if in a dream, when can the power of saints be so arbitrary? This is the heavenly creation that all living beings dream of. But at this moment here in Zhou Yuan, why is it so insignificant? The aura of Tongtian's whole body fluctuated, and under the aura of immortality, the corners of his eyes also twitched constantly. For a long time, he still said in a gloomy tone. You should know that I stand proudly on the golden Ao island with my teachings. Even if all sentient beings are disheartened and want to enter it, why don't you cherish such opportunities like this? Although Zhou Yuan couldn't see the expression on Tong Tian's face clearly, he also felt a sense of danger. It seems that if he insists on quitting the teaching again, in a fit of anger, he will slap him to death, causing him to die. Thinking of this, Zhou Yuan also felt helpless and eventually accepted this fact. Just as Zhou Yuan's mind was spinning, a sudden sound rang out. Congratulations on the host's successful apprenticeship and activation of the divine level selection system. The following two options are now available. Option 1. Follow the waves of the heavens and sweep through the wilderness, strengthen and intercept teachings, reward. 1 Hongmeng Purple Qi. Option 2. Focus on the path and close the door. Reward. A beginner's gift pack. This sound had no warning and surprised Zhou Yuan. Immediately, there was ecstasy. Yes, how could I forget this? Among the countless travel novels I have read in my past life, gold finger is the standard accessory for travelers. And this divine selection system is his golden finger. Zhou Yuan's heart was pounding wildly, his breath was chaotic, and his gaze fell on the first choice. Follow the sky and continue the waves. You can obtain a Hongmeng Purple Qi. Zhou Yuan felt that his breathing was getting heavier. There is no other reason, this Hongmeng Purple aura is too rare and important. This is a natural manifestation of the induction between heaven and earth. With just a strand, it can bring infinite spiritual longevity to all beings without any Taoist or spiritual practice, and possess an immortal body. With time, it may not be impossible to achieve success in practice, so it is also known as the foundation of the Great Way. In addition, the Hongmeng Purple Qi represents the fruit position of the sage. Sanqing, the Western second sage, and others were the ones who obtained a ray of Hongmeng Purple Qi in the Xiao Palace in the past, in order to attain enlightenment and become saints, and enjoy eternal freedom. However, although Hongmeng Ziki was important, Zhou Yuan did not make a hasty decision. Effort is proportional to reward. To obtain the Hongmeng Purple Qi, you need to follow Tong Tian and walk through the wilderness. Zhou Yuan shook his head secretly, it was too dangerous. You should know that he has no cultivation at this time, even if he is a small celestial being, it is easy to kill him. Although he is a disciple of Tong Tian, no one dares to take action against him. But there's always a chance, isn't there? Zhou Yuan was extremely cautious. In the midst of the flood and famine, as long as there was a chance, it could make him irreparable. Therefore, after pondering for a long time, Zhou Yuan still rejected this first choice. Then, focus on the second choice. This beginner's gift package, although I don't know exactly what it is actually in line with my plan for seclusion. Since that's the case, if there's no hope of quitting teaching, then I'll choose the second one. At most, I'll shut down on Jinao Island. With this in mind, Zhou Yuan looked up at Tong Tian and said, Master, now that I am the first disciple to intercept teachings, I want to seclude on Jinao Island and improve my cultivation. Upon hearing these words, Tong Tian felt both joy and comfort. It seems that my disciple has finally accepted the identity of being the first disciple to intercept teachings. Therefore, it is gladly allowed. However, Tong Tian would never have thought that it is easier to stay in seclusion than to leave. Even in later generations, in order to allow their eldest disciple to pass the level, they almost vomited blood due to the weather. Speaking of Zhou Yuan, the moment he made a choice in his heart, the sound of the system rang out again. Host makes a choice. Congratulations on receiving the beginner gift pack. Congratulations to the host for obtaining. Chapter 3. Open the beginner's gift pack, your strength skyrocket. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Open the beginner's gift pack, your strength skyrockets. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained Pangu's hard work *1. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 9 transformations Xian. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1,000,000 great merits. 3 consecutive prompts sounded, causing Zhou Yuan's face to be slightly stunned. At the same time, he also felt a movement in his sea of consciousness, adding 3 supernatural auras. With introverted divine consciousness, Zhou Yuan's gaze fell on the first brilliant light. That is a drop of golden blood, hanging in the sea of consciousness. Surprisingly, there is a circulation of the laws of the Great Way, imprinted with divine patterns, and there is a magnificent and majestic aura that covers the ages. This is Pangu's hard work. As is well known, before the eternal era, the universe had not yet been dissected, and there was a mixture of mist and chaos, with only the breath of chaos circulating. No distinction between heaven and earth, no flow of time. Later, the great god Pangu was born into chaos, controlling the path of power and annihilating 3,000 demon gods. Holding the heavenly axe, cleaving chaos and evolving all things in the vast expanse of heaven and earth. It can be said that the great god Pangu is a higher existence that transcends heaven and earth. His cultivation is approaching the realm of the Great Road. Even today's sages are vastly different from them. And all of his cultivation, the principles of the Tao, are deeply buried in the muscles, bones, and blood of his body. Therefore, although it is only a drop of Pangu's hard work at this moment, the energy contained in it is also like the vast sea, boundless and unparalleled in strength. These rewards are really a godsend in the snow. As a descendant of the human race, I am not good at following scripts. In this vast and decisive world, it is difficult for me to reach too high a level. Now, with Pangu's hard work, if I completely absorb it, I believe I can elevate my heel to a terrifying level. Zhou Yuan sighed inwardly. In the vast world, following one's footsteps determines everything. The so-called follower refers to the background of a cultivator, which is enough to influence a person's talent, opportunities, and even future achievements. In heaven and earth, followers can be roughly divided into several types. Chaos gods and demons, innate gods and acquired beings. Like the Hongjuan Daozu, who was once one of the 3,000 chaos gods and demons, he was the follower of chaos gods and demons, making him an excellent figure in the world. Therefore, he can become the first person in heaven and earth to preach and become a saint, and be respected as the teacher of saints. Sanqing, on the other hand, was transformed into the primordial spirit of Pangu, becoming a top-tier innate deity and also extraordinary. In contrast, Zhou Yuan's footwork is not worth mentioning. He traveled through time and was the follower of the human race after birth. The script after birth was not suitable for cultivation. It can be said that if he followed the script like this, he could reach the level of Tai Golden Immortal, or even the Great Luo Golden Immortal, according to common sense. It is already the pinnacle of existence and cannot be further improved. But at this moment, with this drop of Pangu's hard work, it is enough to reverse such a situation. You should know that the power of the 3,000 great paths is supreme, and Pangu is the controller of the power of the great paths. Even among the 3,000 chaos gods and demons, he is undoubtedly the strongest. If Zhou Yuan could completely absorb this drop of Pangu's hard work, I'm afraid it will reach the top level of innate creatures, and even the rebellious footsteps of junior chaotic gods and demons. In addition, it is also possible to decipher the various killing and attacking techniques of Pangu in the world, as well as the great supernatural powers of reversing the chaos of yin and yang, and so on. It is truly an infinite use. Afterwards, there is the second reward. 9-turn divine skill. Without hesitation, Zhou Yuan's divine consciousness sank into the 9 transformations divine skill, sensing the recorded cultivation methods and feeling great joy in his heart. This 9 transformations divine skill is also passed down by Pangu. As is well known, there are 2 top practices in the world. Zhouzhuan Xian Gong. Zhouzhuan Yuan Gong. The former focuses on physical body, while the latter focuses on spiritual spirit. At this time, the 9 transformations divine skill in Zhou Yuan's sea of consciousness is a combination of these 2 methods. Cultivate both the physical body and the spiritual essence, reaching the pinnacle and reaching the realm of the Great Road. However, this 9 transformations divine skill also has extremely strict requirements for cultivators. To practice this method, both the physical body and the elemental spirit need to reach the realm of mystical immortality. After Xian, the so-called 9 transformations correspond to the 9 subsequent nirvana, each of which is a brand new realm. Tai Xian, Jingxian, Tai Jingxian, Daoyuo Jingxian, Zhuansheng. At the 7th turn, it is proven that the golden immortal fruit of the Honghuang Dalao, also known as the Sage Realm, is achieved. Afterwards, Ba Zhuan became a saint of the heavenly way, on par with the heavenly way, equivalent to the Hongjun after merging with the way. The peak of 9 turns, that is, the sage of the Great Road, transcends the heavenly path and is on par with the Great Road. With just one thought, one can evolve and even destroy a place of heaven and earth. The strength of this 9 transformations divine skill directly exceeded Zhou Yuan's imagination. You should know that even Daozu Hongjun cannot transcend the heavenly way. He had no choice but to use his own body to align with the way and keep pace with it, which is the highest level he can achieve. At this point, as long as one practices according to this method, one can transcend the heavenly way and be even stronger than Hongjun. This method can be called the strongest in history. Zhou Yuan muttered to himself, feeling a shock in his heart. Then, only the last reward remained. 1 million great merits. This reward is even more incredible. You should know that in the vast and desolate world, merit is definitely like a precious treasure. By embodying merit, one can not only receive protection from the great Tao, but also be inviolable by all laws. More opportunities can be sensed. In addition, if a person with profound merits is attacked and killed, then the opponent will also be counterattacked by the Great Way. All kinds of wonderful uses can be said to be endless. It's needless to say. These 3 rewards, each of which is comparable to the existence of Hongmeng purple qi. And now, with 3 consecutive drops, Zhou Yuan is ecstatic. Suppressing the joy in his heart, Zhou Yuan did not rashly digest the reward here. After all, Pifu is innocent and harbors a deep sense of guilt. If sentient beings were to know that he possessed such incredible things as Pangu's hard work and 9 transformations divine skill, won't it attract the coveted superpower to take action? Zhou Yuan's face remained unchanged, and since he had already become a disciple of Tong Tian, there was no need to continue staying here. Immediately, Tong Tian exerted the great power of the sage and carried Zhou Yuan, heading towards Jinao Island. Chapter 4. Rising Cultivation, Crazy Reward Scratching. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Rising Cultivation, Crazy Reward Scratching. Outside the East China Sea, there are countless fairy mountains and small islands standing. And Jijiaozuding Jinao Island is located here. There are fairy flowers blooming on the island, emitting endless divine radiance. In a cave on the island, Zhou Yuan sits. At this point, Tong Tian had already left again, and Zhou Yuan was the only one on Jinao Island. Moreover, Zhou Yuan specifically requested Tong Tian to set up a large formation to protect the teachings here, shielding all the qi movements on Jinao Island. Zhou Yuan breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, as no one could detect the movements of this place. So, he can digest the hard work of Pangu with peace of mind. With introverted divine consciousness, he sank into the sea of consciousness and took out the painstaking efforts of Pangu. In an instant, a strong wind swept through Jinao Island, and a terrifying and unparalleled pressure surged out, sweeping across the 9 heavens and 10 earth, shaking the entire world. Fortunately, the air engine here is blocked. Otherwise, such a grand movement would surely attract the attention of countless great powers in this place. Later, Zhou Yuan bent his finger and fired a bullet, only to see a flame emerge. This is the fire of the original source of qi and blood in his body. At this moment, it is externalized and needs to first refine Pangu's heart and blood. Note that Pangu's hard work is too strong and domineering. The immense power contained within it is just a strand of hair, enough to burst Zhou Yuan's physical body. With a thought, the flames of the original source of qi and blood suddenly surged, enveloping the ancient heart and blood. And then start refining. The flood and famine do not remember the year, and this refinement means that 100 years of time have passed. On this day, flames suddenly erupted in front of Zhou Yuan, sweeping across the sky with a terrifying sight. Ha! Finally refined a little bit. Upon seeing this, Zhou Yuan's face changed. The hard work of Pangu was incredibly stubborn, and although he had been refining it all the time for 100 years. But there was no fluctuation. Unexpectedly, there has been a change today. Just as Zhou Yuan was amazed in his heart, he saw a dazzling light slowly drifting out of the painstaking efforts of Pangu. That was just a thin strand of hair, but a divine aura suddenly appeared, bursting with brilliant colors. Zhou Yuan was overjoyed in his heart. He knew that within this glimmer of divine radiance, it contained the most fundamental magical power of Pangu and the power of the laws of the Tao. Carefully controlling the trace of divine radiance, swallowing it into the body. In an instant, Zhou Yuan felt as if there was a real fire burning inside his body. This kind of burning is not just a simple physical body, but rather an inexplicable sensation that arises from the various mysteries, organs, and even divine souls. Wash the meridians and cut the marrow. This trace of Pangu's painstaking energy is thoroughly refining everything of Zhou Yuan from the inside out. A supreme and domineering force was growing and rising within Zhou Yuan's body, giving him a feeling of comfort throughout his body. Under his inner gaze, he was surprised to find that his meridians and bones were enveloped in a faint golden light, shining brightly. Sure enough, my feet are also changing with it. Zhou Yuan thought so ecstatically. Accompanied by various changes in his body, he felt clear consciousness and his physical body constantly strengthened. This is improving his skills. Not only is there a change happening inside the body, but at this time, the outside world is also experiencing a sudden phenomenon. I saw endless spiritual energy converging from heaven and earth, like a divine dragon hovering and penetrating into Zhou Yuan's body. Zhou Yuan was instantly blessed to the soul. We're going to break through. In an instant, a stunning beam of light suddenly appeared and soared into the clouds. Zhou Yuan's momentum is also constantly surging. deitySan. Xian True Immortal. True Immortal Mid-Stage. True Immortal Perfection in the middle of the Xian period. Until that trace of Pangu's hard work energy is completely digested. Zhou Yuan unexpectedly crossed several great realms and reached the mid-stage realm of the Xian realm. You should know that in just a short 100 years, Zhou Yuan was able to reach such a level from being an ordinary person. Such speed can be called a demon. Even if it's Tong Tian here, I'm afraid I have to marvel at how correct my decision was to accept Zhou Yuan as a disciple back then. That little bit of hard work energy just now is probably only 5% of the entire drop of hard work. This has already led me straight to the middle stage of the Xian period. If I digest it all, what an amazing realm would it be? Zhou Yuan felt the surging power in his body and could clearly sense the rolling flow of great magic. I am also quite satisfied. I am also extremely shocked. 5% of Pangu's hard work made Zhou Yuan undergo such an astonishing transformation. Based on Zhou Yuan's thinking, if he also digests all the remaining, he may at least be able to reach the level of the Luo Jin Xian. Even quasi-Saint Danon is not impossible. And this is just a drop of Pangu's hard work. If it were the Pangu deity in its heyday, how would it be so terrifying and powerful? Zhou Yuan sighed and at the same time summoned the 9 transformations divine skill. Now that you have reached the realm of Xian, you can also start practicing this method. But at this moment, the system, which had been silent for 100 years, once again issued a warning sound. Ding, detected that the host has been closed for 100 years, triggering selection, option 1. Break through the level, strengthen the teaching, reward. Top-notch innate Lingbao mountain, river, and country map. Option 2. Continue to seclude, reward. Premium innate spirit treasure Xianyuan water control flag. Zhou Yuan was a bit surprised. Is it a choice triggered every 100 years? Without hesitation, Zhou Yuan chose to continue his seclusion, so he obtained the Xianyuan water control flag and began practicing the 9-turn divine skill. In practice, time passes like a white horse. 200 years later, the system rang again. Ding, detected host isolation for 200 years, trigger selection. Option 1. Break through the level, strengthen and teach, reward. Top grade innate spirit treasure earth fetal membrane earth book. Option 2. Continue to close down, reward. Top grade congenital spirit treasure 12 stable sea god beads. The earth book in the 3 books of heaven, earth, and man. This is just a top-notch innate spiritual treasure. How can I disturb my Tao heart? Continue to shut down. Ding, test the host's isolation for 1,000 years, trigger selection, option 1. Break through the level, strengthen your skills, reward Huang Zhongli *10. Option 2. Continue seclusion, reward. 9,000-year-old peaches *10. Cut. Go Dao, I am the king. The outside world is too dangerous. Anyway, I just won't leave the level. Let's talk about other things after we finish sealing the gods. Continue to shut down. That's it. On Jinao Island, Zhou Yuanpan sat in the cave, and everything remained motionless in his heart. Crazy brushing of system rewards. Top quality innate spiritual treasure. Various magical powers and techniques, practicing the Dharma. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures, innate spiritual roots. At this moment, it's like a cabbage descending crazily. And Zhou Yuan's own cultivation is also constantly improving. During the process of Zhou Yuan's seclusion, Jinao Island had gradually become lively. Over the course of thousands of years, Tong Tian has brought back countless disciples to practice and intercept teachings. Everyone has also heard that there is already a personally passed down senior brother in the sect. Everyone wants to see their true face. However, for a whole 1,000 years, Zhou Yuan never left the border. It actually disappointed everyone a bit. On this day, Tong Tian returned once again, followed by 8 young figures. He is undoubtedly the 8 great personally transmitted disciples of Duobao, Jinling, and others. Master, didn't you say that we still have a senior brother? Where is he now? Duobao and others asked, all curious about Zhou Yuan. Tongtian's mouth grinned as he had returned to Jinao Island several times over the past 1,000 years, all hoping to visit Zhou Yuan. However, the latter is merciless, saying that they are in seclusion. Surprisingly, he left his master outside the cave. At this moment, Duo Bao and others asked again, and Tong Tian also felt that it was time for his personally transmitted disciple to appear and meet his junior brothers and sisters. Then, Tong Tian arrived outside Zhou Yuan's cave again and secretly said to himself, "This time, even if we use magic, we must pull Zhou Yuan out of the cave." However, they arrived outside the Zhou Yuan cave. At this glance, I was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 5. Formation that even saints can't open, heavenly. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Outside Zhou Yuan's cave. Tong Tian looked at the scene in front of him with some confusion. My heart is filled with helplessness. I saw a mysterious and obscure aura circulating around Zhou Yuan's cave. Formation. As a saint, Tong Tian possesses infinite divine powers, and at a glance, it can be seen that these are the fluctuations of the formation. Jinao Island is his heavenly territory, under the feet of the sage. What is the purpose of setting up formations? You're too cautious too. Moreover, outside the Golden Ao Island, there is already a guardian formation personally set up by Tong Tian. Zhou Yuan's formation is really unnecessary. With his shallow cultivation, what mysterious formations can he arrange? 2 come out quickly and get to know your junior brothers and sisters. The way of cultivation is to have a balance between relaxation, and to ask about one's heart and practice tribulations. With just this kind of hard work, how can you achieve enlightenment? Tong Tian tried his best, but within the cave, there was a resolute refusal. Master, it's not the right time yet. We'll see you again in the future. Now that I'm in a critical moment of seclusion, let's not talk about it for now. After speaking, there was no sound inside the cave. Tong Tian was momentarily stunned, and with his qi mechanism, he could naturally feel that within the cave, Zhou Yuan's breath surged, truly entering a state of cultivation in an instant. What's this called? Outside the island, the scene was once very awkward, with many junior brothers and sisters jumping over the sky and staring at the cave with a curious expression on their faces. My senior brother is too mysterious. Unexpectedly, he didn't even give face to the sage master. Especially Duo Bao, Lishan, Guiling, and so on, their eyes were filled with enthusiasm. Is this the senior brother? Dare to refute the words of the sage, you are truly a role model for us. At the forefront, Tong Tian looked at the flowing formation and suddenly made a mistake, with a worried expression on his face. He really loves and hates this disciple, and his head hurts a lot. This disciple is good everywhere, but he is too cautious and can endure too much. After practicing for so many years, I have no desire to go out and make friends. This loneliness is something that a person with shallow cultivation can resist. He was a bit worried, afraid that Zhou Yuan would go crazy. Staring at the formation, my face was full of contemplation. How about trying to crack this formation and bring it out? At this point, he simply put some thought into it and looked carefully at the formation. However, this sight made him feel a bit confused. The melody of this formation is unpredictable, and even the saints in the church feel an indescribable feeling. He couldn't help but feel a bit interested. Within the island, Zhou Yuan's face was tinged with a hint of helplessness and guilt. He thought to himself, Master, it's not that I don't want to go out, it's just that he gave me too much. Recalling the scene just now, Zhou Yuan felt very conflicted in his heart. He really wanted to laugh heartily, but he also felt that it might not be good if his master heard him. Originally, when he was summoned out by the heavens, he was somewhat tempted. After all, just as he had just joined his master, he had been in seclusion out of the idea of avoiding disasters. He hadn't seen his master for so many years, so he felt a bit embarrassed. But just as he had already stepped out of the formation with one foot, it appeared. The system is malfunctioning. There are still 2 choices. Option 1. Exit the level to pay respects to Tong Tian and meet numerous junior brothers and sisters. Reward. Premium Innate Spirit Root Star Fruit Tree. Option 2. Continue seclusion. Reward. Chaos Taigu Formation. At that time, Zhou Yuan was still hesitant, but when he saw the detailed description behind the Chaos Ancient Formation, he instantly became firm in his heart. Chaos Ancient Formation. Non-sage formations cannot be broken. This means that in order to break through this formation, one must possess the Taoist skills of a sage's formation. As for using brute force, under the sage, no one can break through. This thing is simply a life-saving artifact. With this thing, coupled with being on Jinao Island and being protected by the heavens, who can take his life? At least before the Battle of Fengshen, before being besieged by the 6 great sages, he was able to stay here and stand invincible. Great! Amazing joy! It's simply a precious treasure of god., a masterpiece tailored for Zhou Yuanliang. He naturally made a choice in an instant, choosing the second one. At that time, the most authentic portrayal in Zhou Yuan's heart was, "Master, it's really not that I'm disrespectful, it's mainly this system that has given too many wives. Just take back the half-foot that stepped out, and Zhou Yuan can upgrade the reward from a small star fruit tree to a life-saving chaotic formation." So, the foot was quickly retracted by him without any hesitation. As a result, the surrounding large formation was tumbling and surging. Originally a simple formation, it was instantly upgraded to a chaotic ancient formation that could only be broken by practicing the sage's formation technique. In an instant, Zhou Yuan felt an overwhelming sense of security and settled down to practice. As for the master. What is master? This is just the thing, and now there is the scene of staring blankly at the formation, with a solemn face a while has passed. Tong Tian became increasingly serious, his eyes calculating the flow of Dao Hua, and various formation mechanisms emerged in his mind. Although he is not good at formations, the path of a sage is all-encompassing. So he quickly determined that this formation was not something he could crack. This formation is a standard sage formation, and only when the formation is at the level of a sage can it be cracked from the root. Besides, only brute force can be used. Do we need to use brute force? I didn't even think about it. Are you joking? This is my eldest disciple's dojo, and now he's fighting against him just because he's addicted to cultivation. He is very aware of how rare the sage formation is. Outside the Golden Ao Island, he sought the assistance of a powerful Taoist practitioner in the realm of saints to construct the formation. The cost at that time made him feel a bit heartbroken. Although I don't know how disciple Zhou Yuan obtained this great formation, it is obviously a great opportunity. If it were just a small matter, my master would directly destroy it. Is that still human? A noble sage would never do such a foolish thing. However, this scene, in the eyes of many new disciples, once again caused a huge uproar in their hearts. Just now, Master stood there for a long time, with a clear deduction in his eyes. The Tao was flowing, and his momentum was like that of the heavenly way. Now there is a clear recovery, but still no action has been taken. This indicates that the depth of this formation is even difficult for saints to decipher at once. Top disciples such as Duobao and Guiling were even more outspoken and asked, "Senior brother, is this formation even unable to be resolved by Master?" As soon as this statement was spoken, the scene was instantly awkward, and many disciples who had just started learning and had shallow cultivation were staring at Tong Tian, afraid that this statement would anger the sage. But deep down inside, they were also a bit confused. In this world, there are things that even sages find difficult to deal with. Upon hearing this, Tong Tian fell silent for a moment, then chuckled lightly and said, "I can break through this formation with brute force. However, your senior brother's unwillingness to come out is due to his own reasons. As for wanting to unlock this formation with the help of the formation, it requires the saint's formation technique. I can't unravel it. 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. Just 100 flowers, 100 reviews, 10 comments, 10 more explosive. There's no way, 300,000 saved manuscripts are just so tough. Dear readers, please smash me to death. I would like to try writing about the experience of hand cramps. Chapter 6. Heavenly Treasure, See God Pearl. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 6. Tong Tian gives treasures, integrating the See God Pearl, I can't solve it. This incredibly calm admission echoed in the hearts of the disciples, causing waves of heat to rise in their hearts. The magnanimity of saints deserves their admiration. Ranked at the top of heaven and earth, still able to admit one's shortcomings. For a moment, their gaze towards Tong Tian was filled with respect. If before, this respect was based on strength and status, then at this moment, it is because of that aura that they are moved. This is the first time that those entry-level disciples have changed their views on Tong Tian, while Duo Bao, Guiling, and others are not like this. They will ask this question, which means they know, and Tong Tian will never blame them. My own master, that is a sincere person. Their question is to know whether the large formation set up by senior brother Zhou Yuan is the path of a sage. At this moment, receiving a positive answer, they were all lost in thought. The sage's formation according to the master, after being accepted as an apprentice, the eldest senior brother has been in seclusion until now and has never had any contact with the outside world. And the master was busy collecting disciples to develop and intercept teachings, and even neglected them too much, not even giving them the gift of joining the teachings. Is it difficult? The formation of the sages was arranged by the senior brother himself. As they read this, their hearts trembled fiercely, as if they were being held tightly by their big hands, making it difficult for them to breathe smoothly. Is it difficult to achieve the level of a saint in the formation of senior brother? When this idea came to mind, they themselves were all startled, but upon second thought, it was reasonable for the disciples of the heavenly sage to achieve so much. The speculation in my heart became more firm, and my gaze towards the cave became more solemn and respectful. More fanatically following. Senior brother, how terrifying. With such senior brothers, wouldn't they have a strong support in the future? Why are they afraid to intercept those Western clowns who jump off the beam? Master, senior brother's cultivation is important. The day ahead is long. But it's them who have to justify Zhou Yuan. Seeing the situation all day long and looking surprised, I couldn't help but think that I didn't expect that Zhou Yuan, the disciple, would have gained such a reputation without appearing. You are truly the person I have chosen. Old Huai was very relieved. He nodded, slightly ignoring the matter, and then turned his gaze to the location of the cave. For a long time, suddenly with a wave of his sleeve, two streams of light flew out, straight through the cracks of the chaos ancient formation, and penetrated inside. Arrived in front of Zhou Yuan. Zhou Yuan, when I took you as an apprentice before, I was in the period of development when I intercepted teaching. As a teacher, I owe you the responsibility of being a teacher. Now, I am giving you two magic treasures as compensation. It can also be considered as a gift of apprenticeship. After speaking, he shook his head slightly, but then smiled softly and drifted away. You can study this great formation carefully here, and there will definitely be gains. Upon hearing this, all the disciples bowed their heads and bowed respectfully. As the sky gradually receded, a slightly excited voice suddenly came from within the cave. Zhou Yuan, thank you, master. Ha! Tong Tian smiled slightly and his figure disappeared. He did not inquire about how the formation came from. Everyone has secrets, why should he know? This formation belongs to Zhou Yuan, which is a fortunate opportunity, and it is enough. Although his own disciple is really strange, he is also his disciple who knows the world, so he naturally has to enjoy the best resources. In the cave, Zhou Yuan looked at the treasure amidst the two streams of light, unable to move his eyes in an instant, and even his breathing became somewhat rapid. Having acquired the painstaking efforts of Pangu, the sea god pearl, and other items, Zhou Yuan's vision is not particularly high now, and ordinary treasures are difficult to penetrate. However, these two precious treasures in front of him shook his heart greatly, and even moved him from the bottom of his heart. In front of him, 20.4 warm and cool pearls shimmered with radiance, which were from the same origin as the 12 Dinghai god pearls he had previously obtained from the system. 24 sea god beads. This is the top quality among the innate spiritual treasures. Zhou Yuan felt a tightness in his chest and his eyes were a bit foggy. This master is too generous, isn't he? Looking to the other side, there is a pure white lotus flower, with a holy breath flowing, as if it can purify all evil things between heaven and earth. Red and white lotus roots and green lotus leaves, these are the magic treasures of Master Qingdao. I have given them to him now. Teacher's kindness is profound. Zhou Yuan held these two treasures, his eyes filled with warmth, and looked towards the direction of Tongtian's departure before bowing down again. At this moment, he fully recognizes his identity as a disciple of Tong Tian. If you treat me with sincerity, I will never fail. When I thought about my previous seclusion and now losing face to my master, which almost made me look embarrassed, I didn't receive a single word of blame and even lowered such a precious treasure. That kind of concern and emotion, although unspoken, are all in the details. 24 sea god beads. Don't you already have 12 sea god beads? 24 sea god beads are the ultimate innate spiritual treasures. If they match those 12 again, 36 Dinghai god beads are complete spiritual treasures, perhaps they can break through the shackles and achieve the ultimate treasure. At this moment, Zhou Yuan's hands trembled and his heart trembled. Innate treasure, even saints covet it. At this moment, he couldn't wait and took out the 12 sea god beads, placing them together with the 20.4. Amidst the flow of radiance, there is a sudden rise in mutation. Before the battle, Duobao, Guiling, Lishan and others simply sat in front of the large formation, their primordial spirits sticking out and attaching themselves to the formation, carefully comprehending the Tao rhyme contained within it. This is the way of the sage, and with constant reflection, it is equivalent to the sage personally teaching, which is a great opportunity. Of course, although this kind of observation is consistent with the principles contained in the teachings of the sages, it lacks oral transmission and has a certain threshold for understanding. Most people with insufficient cultivation can only see a mist when observing this formation, knowing that there is great danger inside and should not trespass. As for what can be learned and gained from this, it is difficult to achieve. Even worse, I can't even perceive the crisis, it's just a huge gap in cultivation. As time passed, the number of people left before the formation became increasingly scarce. 100 years have passed in a blink of an eye, and now only a few people, such as Li Mountain, Gue Ling, Duobao, and Jin Ling, are still comprehending this supreme path. Occasionally waking up during intervals, would express a touch of gratitude and admiration towards the depths of the cave. Although Zhou Yuan did not personally guide them, allowing them to stay here and watch the formation was already a great opportunity for them. And as this insight deepened, they became more and more respectful of Zhou Yuan's achievements in the formation and his people. No less than holy. Duobao opened his eyes from a deep understanding, and a flash of essence flashed in his eyes. After 100 years of seclusion, he felt a sense of formation and his cultivation bottleneck finally loosened a bit. Standing up, he bowed respectfully and said, "Thank you very much for your guidance, senior brother." In his opinion, all of this is thanks to Zhou Yuan. However, with such a bow, a sudden mutation occurred. A breathtaking aura exploded from within the cave, and even on top of it, there were rolling thunderclouds condensing, with purple thunder flickering and rumbling inside. Tuobao's legs softened and a wave of panic surged in his heart. Where did I disrespect and offend my senior brother? Chapter 7. Divine Pearl Fusion, Innate Treasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Divine Pearl Fusion, Innate Treasure. Inside the cave, Zhou Yuan looked at the constantly surging divine light and quickly dodged backwards. This fluctuation is too strong to withstand with his current cultivation level. Boom! The 24 sea god beads and the other 12 touched each other, as if triggering some kind of reaction. The prohibitions around the body flickered, and Dao Yun bombed open, destroying the entire interior of the cave. If it weren't for Zhou Yuan using a large formation to protect himself, he would probably have been reborn after being bombed at this moment. Hiding behind the main formation and carefully examining the Dinghai God Pearl, the restrictions on it were complex and dazzling. With Zhou Yuan's current level of expertise, it is still difficult to understand, but one can vaguely sense the many changes in the restrictions on it, as if it is undergoing disassembly in fusion. The two prohibitions were originally incompatible with each other, but after slow changes, there began to be a trend of integration. This fusion lasted for a long time. At first, Zhou Yuan was able to protect the entire cave with a formation, preventing it from exploding. However, after 100 years, more than half of the fusion, he could only use the formation to protect himself. I can't help it. It's not that the array is not awesome, but that his spiritual power is not enough. So he only protected himself with the formation, allowing the halo of the sea god pearl to circulate and roar incessantly. Zhou Yuan also heard of the presence of spirits in the treasure. In order to prevent it from escaping after forming, he specially made a cover with an array to surround the treasure. Not to limit your strength, just afraid of you slipping away. Boom! Boom! 100 years have passed in a hurry. Zhou Yuan hid in the corner, trembling, but his eyes couldn't conceal excitement and anticipation. Recently, the bombing between the Dinghai divine beads has reached its peak, and upon closer inspection, their fusion has come to an end. The independent forbidden stripes floating on their respective spiritual beads are intertwined with each other. Until complete integration, it is the time when the Dinghai divine pearl is born. Zhou Yuan chose not to practice and directly stared at the Dinghai divine pearl with his chin. At this glance, his mind was drawn into it. The change of prohibition and fusion is like the destruction and rebirth of the world, which coincides with the cycle of the heavenly way. In Zhou Yuan's luck, his mind sank into it. Enlightenment. I saw that his body was full of colorful and supernatural energy, and he had already fallen into a deep level of cultivation. The flood and famine do not remember the year. In the cave, the last small wave remained calm, and within the formation, there were 30.6 water-moistening spirit beads that seemed small and as big as the world, spinning and dripping, full of spirituality. There are 4,749 prohibitions floating on it, indicating that its rank has reached the ranks of innate treasures, and even saints will be moved by it. 1. A group of Dao Yun suddenly erupted from the spirit bead, restraining the tremors. The spirit bead transformed into a hole, spontaneously transforming into a sharp sword, and blasted towards the formation controlled by Zhou Yuan. We need to escape. However, at this moment, Zhou Yuan smiled at the corners of his mouth and finally opened his eyes. In his eyes, the rhythm of the Tao flowed, as if there was a hint of reincarnation in the heavenly way. This sudden realization is due to your contribution, and I will give you the opportunity to follow me in the battle against the wilderness. Zhou Yuan smiled and said, then bent his fingers and flicked a flick, causing Dao Yun to suddenly explode. The 30.6 sea god beads in the distance, under the control of their formation, glided towards them like gentle little dogs. Strike a prohibition and easily acknowledge the master. Zhou Yuan finally let go of his worries and ignored the unwilling young spirit, only inspiring this treasure. Buzzing prohibition flickered, and a stream of water vapor emanated. Almost instantly, the concentration of spiritual energy in this secret chamber soared to an incredible level. Just taking a breath, Zhou Yuan felt refreshed and refreshed. The number of 6 is the spiritual treasure, and the number of 7 is the ultimate treasure. Zhou Yuan counted them bit by bit, and finally, an indescribable shock and surprise appeared in his eyes. Innate treasure. The innate treasure, which is of great use to saints, couldn't help but compete for, actually fell into his hands. Invincible. My Zhou Yuan's strength is still weak, but this kind of luck, I am proud of the times. Zhou Yuan was overjoyed and quickly activated 30.6 god beads, transforming them into a huge shield to protect himself. Let's see how strong this thing's defense is. 36 Dinghai divine beads protected Zhou Yuan behind him, revealing a sudden charm. Zhou Yuan, on the other hand, used his hands to pinch the formula and control the formation to trigger a Xian level attack, suddenly rushing towards the divine beads. The massive attack came head-on, pressing Zhou Yuan's mind tightly. This attack suddenly landed on the divine pearl. Qi Ling. Boom. After a loud bang, the brilliance flowed and the Tao rhyme exploded in disorder, crushing the gravel in the cave into pieces. Zhou Yuan scattered 30.6 Dinghai divine beads and breathed a sigh, his eyes filled with pride and regret. Innate treasure, not to mention the treasure that saints all want. With his cultivation level as a mere Xian, he is able to control this treasure without damage and easily resist a strike from the golden immortal. 36 god beads, so terrifying. Zhou Yuan's heart was filled with infinite joy. He was about to put away this treasure, but he looked at Jingshi Balian on one side. He couldn't help but think that these two treasures, the divine pearl, were innate treasures, and Balian was also infinitely close to the treasures. If we unite to defend, what level can we reach? Do whatever comes to mind. Zhou Yuan stepped on the pure white lotus with his feet, surrounded by 30.6 Dinghai divine beads. For a moment, he felt like a heavenly deity descending to earth, and his immortal energy was rampant. Surprisingly, there is the posture of a saint. Feeling the endless power surrounding him, Zhou Yuan felt a sense of security bursting at this moment. He immediately exerted all his strength to activate the magic weapon, and a layer of incredibly thick light wall appeared in front of him. After the defense was completed, he once again urged the formation to attack. Golden Immortal level. When after a light noise, Zhou Yuan couldn't help but blink his eyes. In front of him, he couldn't even hear the aftershocks of explosive tremors. This blow seems to have been ignored by them. With a slight surprise in his eyes, Zhou Yuan once again activated the formation and adjusted his attack to the later stage of the Golden Immortal. Buzzing still as before, only the muffled sound lasted for a long time. Zhou Yuan finally became excited, carefully manipulating the technique and directly adjusting the attack to the level of Tai Golden Immortal. Boom! This time, a huge wave exploded in front of Zhou Yuan, and the aftershocks of the vibration spread to Zhou Yuan's side, causing layers of ripples in the melody. Finally, there's a response. But still far from reaching the limit. This kind of power shook Zhou Yuan deeply. Can two treasures be added to make them face the Tai realm without defeat? Come again. Zhou Yuan's hands were trembling as he released the seal. Half-step de Luo. In front of him, a golden fist condensed out of nowhere, carrying a dazzling and colorful melody, and bombarded Zhou Yuan's face. If there is no treasure, Zhou Yuan will surely die with this punch. At this moment, hiding behind the magic weapon, Zhou Yuan felt a bit uneasy. Can you play with it? He couldn't help but squint his eyes, and then the punch landed on the magical halo. Bang! Dao Yun exploded and shook the halo in front of Zhou Yuan, causing the aftershocks to penetrate the giant shield and press towards Zhou Yuan. Fortunately, he was already under the control of the formation, and after dispersing the fluctuations, he focused again on the magical light cluster in front of him. After a long time, the aftermath dissipated. Although the light cluster has become much thinner, it remains strong. Can block a half-step big Luo strike. Unless you are a true Dalai Lama, you cannot break through this defense. You should know that in this vast and desolate world, where saints do not emerge, Dalai Lama is already at the pinnacle of strength, capable of dominating the vast and desolate world. And Zhou Yuan, who was only in the realm of Xian, is now invincible in the face of the Dalai Lama. In the future, with even greater cultivation and the addition of this treasure, wouldn't it be possible to be invincible under the sage? At this point, his mouth couldn't help but open a huge curve, ecstatic. I, Zhou Yuan, have achieved the initial success of the road. Chapter 8. Crazy Rewards, Supreme Kill Formation. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 8 Crazy Rewards, Supreme Kill Formation. Outside the cave, the sky has reached. He couldn't sit still when such power descended on his golden Ao island. Dismissed numerous disciples and sat in the sea of clouds silently protecting Zhou Yuan. At first, there were some great masters and even saints in the midst of the wilderness who gazed at this place, but when they realized that the heavens were here, they all withdrew their gaze. Watching the sage. Free. Even the saints feel embarrassed to watch. After all, this kind of momentum is not too strong for them, and there is no need to pay more attention. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of years passed, and the purple thunder that was ready to be unleashed became even more solid, with astonishing power. With the power of the great Luo Golden Immortal. Looking up at the formation from the sky, it was difficult to penetrate and could only vaguely sense two strong auras clashing. One formation, one Zhou Yuan. More specifically, due to his lack of proficiency in formation techniques, he was unable to detect it. Fortunately, he wasn't in a hurry either. He sat there for a long time, waiting quietly. In a blink of an eye for 100 years, Tong Tian finally opened his eyes, filled with surprise and joy. For 100 years, he has been promoting performances, and his precious disciple has had great opportunities. Looking up at the rolling purple thunder, a glimmer of clarity flashed through the sky. Based on Zhou Yuan's cultivation, he could not bring such a calamity. It is believed that the spiritual treasure has undergone a transformation, and the ultimate treasure has descended into the world. 24 See God Beads. Tong Tian no longer guessed, smiled slightly, and felt very happy in his heart. He looked up at the purple cloud and whispered, "Disperse." As he spoke, he saw the purple thunder as if encountering a powerful enemy, quickly retreating and dissipating, as if fleeing for his life. "Sage, speak your words and follow the law." Seeing everything calm, Tong Tian was about to leave when suddenly he frowned, waved his hand, and shed the pressure of the sage, enveloping the surrounding aura before leaving with peace of mind. Never let those saints see that my disciple has innate treasures. In the cave, after Zhou Yuan confirmed that his Xian cultivation could withstand the attack of half-step Dala, he had no other thoughts and focused on refining Pangu's hard work, starting his cultivation. Pangu's painstaking efforts were extremely difficult to refine. Zhou Yuan used the spiritual root fire of the current Xian level to refine it, but it still took decades to extract such a trace. However, Zhou Yuan enjoyed it tirelessly. As soon as he thought about becoming a golden immortal and using his two treasures to perhaps resist the attack of Luo Jingxian, he had infinite patience and fighting spirit. Work hard, practice hard, fight hard. This kind of cultivation is like an ascetic monk, unaware of autumn and winter, and indifferent to human affairs. The flood and famine do not remember the year. In the blink of an eye, there was a trend of turbulence and collision between the two Lich clans. A while ago, Tong Tian came to inquire and wanted Zhou Yuan to take this opportunity to experience in the world of the wilderness, but he was pushed away by Zhou Yuan on the grounds of dedicating himself to cultivation. Oh, the witch race. That's too tragic. Ancestors and witches can all die. He went out, isn't that for beating up? Are you joking? Going out to experience is not safe to hide in the cave. Steadily refining Pangu's hard work and accumulating treasures, isn't it fragrant? I won't even leave the level if I die. Tong Tian had no choice but to leave. After all, since the war began, as a saint, he had to seek benefits for the interception of religion, and it was impossible for him to focus all his thoughts on Zhou Yuan alone. Moreover, such a result was also within his expectations. Such a small incident did not affect Zhou Yuan's secret cultivation at all. He had a close relationship with Pangu's hard work. The demon clan's heavenly court has destroyed the Purple Mansion, making it difficult to resist. Option 1. Host exits the level and follows Tong Tian to experience the wilderness. In the future, during the Witch-Demon War, seek benefits and strengthen the sect. Reward. Half of the resources of the Witch-Demon 2 tribes. Option 2. Continue to seclusion and reward Tiangang 36 techniques. Tiangang 36 Dharma. It's not a particularly precious thing, far inferior to innate treasures. Choose one, but you can get half of the resources accumulated by the Lich and Demon races for countless elemental guilds. If used properly, Zhejiao can develop rapidly and have more confidence in dealing with the Battle of Fengshen in the future. Zhou Yuan tugged at the corner of his mouth without hesitation and chose the latter directly. Although the baby is good, you should still use your life to enjoy it. Nowadays, even the sages are constantly paying attention, waiting to pick up leaks, and there are countless Daoyuo waiting to drink soup. What will he do in the later stage of his little Xian? Are you cute? Is it not fragrant, as it is as white as 30.6 Dharma points in a day? After making a choice, a huge flow of information flooded into his mind, and Zhou Yuan carefully flipped through it. Tiangang 36 Method. Taoist orthodox inheritance techniques, including diverse elements. For a moment, Zhou Yuan was once again immersed in cultivation, refining Pangu's hard work while studying this secret technique. In the wilderness, time is the most useless. After practicing for a long time, Zhou Yuan finally opened his eyes, and in front of him, a golden thread of blood coiled around him, blooming with infinite supernatural powers. Whoosh! With his mouth slightly open, this blood thread penetrated into Zhou Yuan's body, and Dao Yun burst out, being fully absorbed by Zhou Yuan. When he opened his eyes again, a brilliant light flashed through him, and his aura was much stronger. Xian Peak. After improving his cultivation, he tested the power of 30.6 God beads and the pure world white lotus again, and found that they were still only at the level of half a step tall. He was somewhat disappointed for a moment. It seems that we can only wait until we reach the golden immortal level before conducting the test. Keep practicing. Just as he was about to close his eyes, the system sound sounded. The Witch clan has accumulated and risen, with a tendency to compete with the Demon clan. Option 1. The host will go out of the past to provoke and directly ignite the Lich War. Reward. Sanqing's favor and common inheritance. Option 2. Continue to seclusion, using the 72 earthly demons technique. Zhou Yuan's heart rate accelerated as he watched these two tasks. The complete inheritance of Sanqing. If he really learns, he will not only be the first disciple of the three teachings, but also in a position comparable to that of Dalai Lama. However, after a brief period of greed, he still sincerely chose to continue his seclusion. Status also requires strength matching. Even if one truly becomes a co-disciple of the three religions, it is difficult to convince the masses. Moreover, if the time is not right now and one really goes to hell to provoke war, the powerful power of the Lich and Demon clan will surely turn around and destroy it. They are not ready to take action, how can they easily start a fight? Only a fool has left the level. Continue to shut down, shut down. This system is trying to kill me, never fall for it. After making a choice, a stream of information flooded into the mind. There are 70.2 strange methods, including the Earth's 70.2 methods, Paul's passage to the underworld, and driving away gods. Integrate with the 36 laws of the heavenly gang, encompassing the entire world. This is also the method of cultivation for future generations of great sages, and among the 3 religions, it is also among the top. Practice and enhance your strength. The flood and famine do not remember the year. Zhou Yuan woke up again, with strands of Pangu's hard work swirling around his palm, shining brightly with gold. Absorb it, he will definitely be able to break through the golden immortal level. Without hesitation, he devoured it in one gulp, and after hundreds of years, he suddenly opened his eyes and his aura surged around him, incredibly powerful. In the early days of Xian. Now, Pangu's heart and blood have been swallowed and absorbed by about 30%, becoming a golden immortal, and the speed of digestion and devouring has accelerated. After a brief test of the defense of the 2 treasures controlled by the golden immortal realm, Zhou Yuan was extremely surprised and satisfied. Can be tough in the early stages of the Luo. It can be said that at this moment, he is truly invincible under Dalai Lama. Moreover, now that he is extremely familiar with the 36 heavenly gang laws and 72 earthly Xiao laws, his combat power is already quite terrifying. He was about to shut down again when he suddenly heard the system sound. The situation between the witches is severe, with occasional collisions, and the lower classes are filled with righteous indignation. Option 1. Join the upcoming witch race and help the demon race defeat. Reward. Nua's favor, a sky-mending stone. Option 2. Continue seclusion. Reward. Mixed Yuan golden dough. There's something wrong with the system. Your task of changing the soup without changing the dressing is really not innovative. After all, isn't it that you want me to go and die? My heart is too dark. Ignoring. Shut up. Continue to refine Pangu's hard work. After making the choice, the golden light shone brightly and the mighty Honghuang Jindo appeared in front of Zhou Yuan. This item can hold all things in the world, it is unstoppable by the great Luo. Time flies by. Zhou Yuanpan sat in the cave, his aura incredibly strong, trembling the devices inside the room and flying wildly. Boom! The momentum suddenly erupted, then quickly converged. Zhou Yuan opened his eyes, and his whole person seemed to have become different. Mid-golden immortal period. However, before he could feel any joy, the system arrived again. The friction between the 2 races of witches and demons has evolved dramatically, and there are also traces of the sage's calculation behind it. Option 1. Go to the border of the 2 tribes, directly provoke the battle of witchcraft, or excavate the sage's plan to destroy it. Reward. Killing God spear. Option 2. Continue seclusion. Reward. Zhou Tian Xing Do deformation. Upgraded version. Looking at these 2 rewards, Zhou Yuan suddenly froze. Chapter 9. Strength boosts greatly, and being in seclusion is truly fragrant. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 9. Strength boosts greatly, and being in seclusion is truly fragrant. For a moment, Zhou Yuan had an impulse to choose the first one in his heart. Stop the divine gun. It is the divine object of the demon ancestor Luo Yan. Can harm saints. If Zhou Yuan gets it, it's hard to say that he can directly dominate the invincible hand of Dalao at this moment. However, with his golden immortal realm, even holding a god-killing spear, combined with the sea god pearl and the pure world white lotus, it is still difficult to resist the power of the sage. Not invincible yet. Since we cannot be invincible, we cannot waver and must stabilize the policy of sleazy development. This must be a new trap given by the system. Start a war, against the line of saints. It's really a long idle life. Zhou Yuan shook his head, driving out the slightest bit of greed from his mind, and decisively chose the second one. Reward the upgraded version of the Zhou Tian star formation. With the sound of the system prompt, Zhou Yuan only felt that the original Honghuang ancient formation around him had undergone a transformation and evolution from the root, and had actually brought a strong star attribute. The Zhou Tian star Dou formation is a peerless formation formed by Fuxi, the great deity, referring to the operation of the Hongmeng stars from the Hichu Luo Shu. It combines the power of 365 stars in the sky, combined with the 2 stars of the Taiyin sun as the eye of the formation, and is condensed together. The formation has infinite power in the starry sky, with a murderous aura that is incredibly profound and majestic. It is the Heavenly Court's Great Barrier Formation. Zhou Yuan is naturally very familiar with the Zhou Tian star formation, but he doesn't know what the upgraded version means. Looking back, I found only one upgrade. Defensive power. Upgraded version. At least the 2 saints can work together to break it. Seeing this, Zhou Yuan's heart was extremely shaken, and he even saw stars in his eyes. Can only the double saints be defeated? Does that mean that as long as you hide here, even if a saint arrives, it will be difficult to take them away? Stand undefeated. Before the Battle of Fengshen, as long as he doesn't go out, he is 100% safe, and it's difficult to die. I've made a fortune. Zhou Yuan is already the star eye, hoping that this star formation can be successfully transformed quickly, so that he can experience its power. The transformation process will last for an extremely long time, and it will only be completed in a blink of an eye for 100 years. Zhou Yuan stood at the center of the formation, with the infinite power of starlight rushing towards his physical body, bathing his entire body in the starlight. This formation not only enhances its power, but also gathers the power to transform starlight, transforming it into a rich source for Zhou Yuan to absorb and refine. The horizon is transformed into an invisible shield by infinite starlight, completely protecting the Zhou Yuan cave and able to withstand the attacks of saints. Standing at the center of the formation, gazing into the sky, he saw that it had been 10 years. When he regained his senses, there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. For the past decade, out of relaxation, Zhou Yuan did not refine Pangu's hard work and practice. Instead, he bathed in the starlight, wandering beyond objects, and the spiritual platform was clear. At this moment, upon closer inspection, it was discovered that most of the scattered starlight had transformed into spiritual energy and penetrated into the elixir field, while a small portion had also merged into the flesh and blood, strengthening its physical body. This star formation also has a hidden function. In just 10 years, he could feel a slight improvement in his physical body. If he could secretly cultivate here for 10,000 years, even for 1 yuan, wouldn't his physical body be comparable to that of an ancestral witch? Speaking of this, Zhou Yuan couldn't help but lick his lips, his eyes shining brightly. Hurry up and practice, bring in starlight to train your body. After making up his mind, Zhou Yuan sat on the ground and began practicing wholeheartedly. In a blink of an eye. In the vast world, time is the most meaningless. During this period, Zhou Yuan refined Pangu's heart and blood while also practicing his body with starlight. During this period of time, he has focused on his cultivation, and with the help of various treasures, his cultivation has finally reached the late stage of the golden immortal, and his aura is incredibly strong. With the help of various divine powers, spells, and treasures, he is now a strong warrior in the early stages of the Great War of Dalai, even killed. As for the Tai golden immortal in the weak realm, he kills him like a chicken cub. The progress of such strength cannot be described as rapid, and such changes can be described as earth-shattering. Even if the sky is here, I have to say a word. Devouring 40% of Pangu's painstaking efforts and numerous starlight, it is not just about improving strength, but also about Zhou Yuan's significant evolution. You should know that in the vast wilderness, if you want to cultivate, you must be outstanding in your footsteps, otherwise the path of cultivation will be extremely difficult. At first, Zhou Yuan's footwork was not ideal, but now, after refining a lot of Pangu's hard work, footwork has finally entered the realm of inferior innate gods. The promotion of following one's feet is extremely difficult, and even some sages say that following one's feet is destined and difficult to change. Now, Zhou Yuan has been practicing hard for tens of thousands of years before quietly improving with the help of Pangu's hard work. Congenital gods and feet are extremely precious and outstanding. You should know that in the past, the Hongjuan Xiao Palace preached that among the 3,000 guests, most were of medium quality, while those who reached the highest level were the Eastern Prince, Enyu Hua, Fushi, Kuanpeng, Zenyuanzi, Hongyun, Emperor Juntai, and so on. As for the best, only Sanqing. After all, they are transformed by Pangu Yuanshan and have a unique advantage in following their footsteps. As for the higher level, it is only Hongjun. Compared to them, Zhou Yuanji may not seem to have a high following, but when the listeners of Xiao Palace were in the realm of Tai Golden Immortal, they were already among the top combat forces in the wilderness, and further up, they were the great Luo Golden Immortal. Zhou Yuanji rose up close to them and crushed countless people in the vast wilderness. Moreover, according to his estimation, as long as Pangu's heart and blood are consumed, his followers will definitely be able to be elevated to at least the same level as Sanqing. Everyone is backed by Pangu, so they should follow their footsteps. Thinking of that possibility, Zhou Yuan became increasingly excited. At that time, he will surpass others and become a saint with the brilliant purple aura. He will sit and discuss with saints such as Sanqing and Enyu Hua, invincible in the wilderness. Isn't it joyful? Practice. Crazy cultivation. Zhou Yuan closed his eyes and became more focused on refining Pangu's hard work. He immersed himself in the pleasure of cultivating and enhancing his strength, without any concern for external affairs. During this period, Tong Tian naturally also came, but he didn't even receive a response from Zhou Yuanji, so he had no choice but to leave. What can I do? After all, it's the disciple I personally collected, so I can only endure it. Fortunately, he also noticed that Zhou Yuanji's cultivation was becoming more and more powerful, and he had already reached the realm of the Golden Immortal. Xian, he is already considered a top figure in the wilderness. No matter how cautious his disciple is, he should probably leave the level and venture into the wilderness, right? I couldn't help but look forward to it. Perhaps, if he knew the idea in Zhou Yuan's heart that, if he didn't reach the sage, he would swear not to leave the pass, he would probably forcefully break through the formation and directly pull Zhou Yuan out and throw him into the mortal world. Of course, after upgrading the formation, even if the surrounding areas are protected by the Zhou Tian Xingchen Great Formation, it will be difficult to break through the Great Formation. At this moment, he really has no way to take Zhou Yuan. In an instant, another 10,000 years. Zhou Yuan woke up during his cultivation and patiently checked his own cultivation, nodding in satisfaction. The peak cultivation in the middle period of the Golden Immortal. Congenital inferior divine heal. Comparable to the physical body of the ancestral witch. The innate treasure is the 36C God Pearl and the pure white lotus. The 36 laws of heavenly gang. 72 methods of earth Xiao. With current strength, one can wander through the vast wilderness on a small scale. As long as they don't jump too far, they can be safe and sound. As he read this, Zhou Yuan stretched lazily, squinted his eyes, and said with satisfaction, seclusion is really fragrant.